In lieu of seeing products at NeoCon this year, we're having products on our virtual webinar series. And at the end of our chat, at the end of our series, our presentation today, we'll open up the chat line, or you all can come back on and start discussing any projects you're working on or ask any questions that you might have. As you know, Finish's sales group has been repping Soelberg for almost 6 years, and it's one of our favorite product lines. We have done very well with the textured 3D laminate product, as well as the new acoustic product. And Soelberg has become very innovative on things they can do with these products. It's core materials that we've already had, and we're finding new and better ways of using them. So this is Jody Odell, and Jody is our Director of Sales, National Director of Sales for Soelberg, and she has brought with her a wealth of knowledge. Are you going to share this now? Oh, she brought with her a wealth of knowledge, and because of the core materials that she has worked with, which are similar in the past. So Jody, welcome, and thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Yes, I have spent a lot of time in the acoustic world. I was, just for a quick reference, I'm in Los Angeles, like I said, so I'm on the early West Coast. So I'm still sipping on my coffee to make sure I'm bright-eyed for you guys. But spent many years. I was the West Coast sales director for Buzzy Space, and spent a lot of time in that world with them. Love them. Great company, great people. Went to a ceiling solutions company in between Buzzy Space and Soelberg's, and learned even more about baffles and acoustics. And when I joined Soelberg, I'd known them for a while. I've met them on many occasions. We used to share reps, and they'd always say, we're going to work together someday. I thought, I'm not sure how that's going to happen. I'm so entrenched in the acoustic world. And then when they went into a new core material called PET felt, we had something to talk about. So when I joined Soelberg, my team who's been with me also joined us as well. So like Cynthia said, we are a core surface solutions company. So we're working in core materials. So, and our original cores were our beautiful MDF 3D laminates. And then we were taking and routing through and creating these beautiful three-dimensional textures. And then they went into a core material of a solid surface. And then they moved into a core material of Baltic birch. And through all their technology, all their know-how, they knew that they could play with the PET felt and do something very different. And they weren't going to do something that everybody else was doing, that there'd be no point. They wanted to do something very, very different. So we took our core material, our original textures. If you look on the left of the screen, that is one of our MDF core material textures. And you can imagine taking that and just turning it over and press it onto the PET felt. So what they knew they could do is create beautiful textures on PET. Most manufacturers, to get a texture, are running in the material. And so they're creating patterns by taking things out. We're not doing that. We're actually bringing texture to the material, keeping the material intact, and creating these beautiful, beautiful textures. So they were doing this before I even got to them. So they knew they had something really amazing, because they're at the core of who they are. They're master craftsmen. They are makers and they're thinkers. And so they were actually already bringing these beautiful textures to the PET felt that you all have been specifying on walls almost 2 years now. So I love this one here. This is Tronco. And what's beautiful about what they've done is you can take our textures and go through all the core materials. So if you want to have this pattern in a 3D, laminate with an MDF core, it'll be a concave texture. So they'll run it out. And then when you press it into the PET, it becomes convex. So you get these two textures, concave, convex, in different core materials, but the same beautiful pattern. So I love this one here. I call it, I'm a sucker for a stripe. This is called Mensa, and I love this. And we can take them, we can make them directional. If you want a horizontal, awesome. You want to do it vertical, we can do it. And that brings up a good point too, is we're showing you ideas. And I like to say that what I offer you is as a kit of parts. I have a toolbox, and in my toolbox are amazing, cool core materials. And it's, what do you want to do with those materials? Do you want us to do a vertical texture? Awesome. You want us to hang things from the ceiling with texture? We can do that. We're even doing, I'll venture to say, we're doing tables now, because we've been asked to take our materials and create tabletops. Now, are we a table manufacturer? No, but I'm a surface solution manufacturer, and I create surfaces. That's how you ask us to bring those surfaces to your project, is how we're going to create for you, because there's nothing there's no baffle in a box in our factory. We have core materials that we stock, and then we go to work and put those together as you ask us to. So, you know, I love this shot here because I certainly could have sold this to you plain white 4x9 sheets of PET, but look how much more elevated this space is when you add the texture. It's just a completely beautiful new expression. So the texture just, you know, speaks to one of our 5 senses. And of course we can print on our PET. So when you're looking for graphics, we're able to take and do beautiful prints. We have things we've designed, different graphics, but bring on your ideas. If you want to print logos, you want to print, I could take a picture of your office staff and print you all 9 feet tall if I needed to. So think about this for graphics as well, that we can bring you graphic images along with the PET. And of course, you know, everyone in this PET world are doing dividers. Well, so are we. And I'll tell you, I was telling Cynthia and Bob earlier, I attended the roundtable for interior design yesterday. I don't know if y'all were on that call, and they had 7 of, you know, amazing thought, you know, leaders in design on this call for an hour and a half talking about what are we walking into. And they used a term, they want to define, not divide. You know, everyone's asking, how are we going to divide people? Well, people still need to be together. So now it's about bringing in products like this that are going to define space, not divide people. So we're very much part of these conversations. We're working with, I'll just tell you, a big tech company up in Seattle, where they've asked us to do products similar to this design, but the interior third would be solid. So above and below the textures would be open, but then the middle third would be a solid. So anything that's going to want to move through a space will be stopped by a solid panel. So again, you know, these are ideas we've come up with, but if you have your own pattern that you want to cut, that you want to create, let's do it. You know, bring us your ideas. I have 3 limitations at Soelberg in all of our materials. One is the, you know, your design intent. How far and creative do you want to be? How far do you want to push those boundaries? 2, I have a sheet size, typically a 4x9 in most cases, and then the budget. Within those 3 parameters, what do you want us to create? You know, we don't call it custom at Soelberg. You know, we call them solutions, because we're not going to make anything till you tell us to. And so there's no custom charges. There's no, oh, minimums. No, we're going to work with you to create what you need us to create. So going from all the beautiful wall textures, of course, we were doing desk dividers. And this has been a really big part of the conversation right now. And we just want to, I won't use their name because I think they're recording this, but it's one of the largest national healthcare providers in the country. We just won the contract to bring them back to work safely with our desk dividers. So those orders are already in process to get them back to work in July. And one of the reasons they did choose us is we are made in the US, and we have lead times that are 10 to 15 days, not 10 to 15 weeks, not 10 to 15 months, 10 to 15 days. So we were able to take almost 2,000 workstations and create desk dividers for them to get them back to work as quickly as possible and safely as possible. So know that you can walk into these solutions confidently with our materials and our expertise, because we do know how to work in this material. So this is where they really wanted me to join them, and my team that has come with me, is we went up into the ceiling to do baffles. Now, anyone with a PET, you know, CNC machine can start creating baffles. We wanted to do something different for you all. And so we knew we had some great ideas. So first we started with the product. What can we do with a product that's just a little bit different? So at the basic, most simple form, the PET on its own, just simple straight, you know, cuts and simple straight designs, we came up with Piatto. Again, the simplest solution in the material that you also then can cut into all kinds of beautiful expressions of shapes and ideas and designs. If you want it to be a very gentle swooping motion, got it. You want to have it peaks and valleys, got it, we can do it. And then we said, well, why don't we take what we already know? Let's take our Baltic birch, our ply that we call Natura. What if we mixed our Natura, you know, and, you know, instead of doing walls and dividers with it, what if we did a mix of materials? Because we're experts in this material, why not combine them? So we're like, well, great, let's do that. So we create a beautiful,
Beautiful.
isn't that beautiful?
Really nice.
Beautiful.
It's really
So
nice.
nice. And how we did this too, when my team got to Soelberg, you know, we're very versed in the ceilings, and their first attempt at this, we picked it up, that, oh, this is really heavy, and we never want to have to bring in a structural to talk about weight loads. So we devised this to have it, it's hollow on the inside. So when it's hollow, and I've got 2 pieces of PET on either side of it, now I have an air gap. Not only did I reduce the weight on the deck, I've created a higher NRC value. But and then the same idea, we can take and create this in beautiful sculptural shapes. We can run the PET all the way to the top edge if you want to, and just have the stripe apply at the bottom. So again, we're going to turn this over to you and say, direct us. What can we do to make your design come to life the way you see it? And they're, you know, again, we can cut these in any number of ways. They're just stunning. Just, you know, to get that mix of material, it's just something different and new. Then we said, gosh, what we're really known for, again, is our great texture. You know, so let's take all of our beautiful core textures and then let's put them into the walls, which you saw us do. And then why not put them into a baffle? So now we're taking and doing textural baffles. So again, we want to be something different for you, something that's going to, you know, just excite the ceiling, if you want to say it that way. And if you said, Jode, I really want to take this, and what if we did, we call this the saddle on the top. It's a structural piece to keep from deflecting in the ceiling. You said, Jode, I want the saddle to be in black. I want the faces to be in bright yellow. Okay, we can do that. Or you said, Jode, I want texture just on one side, not two. Okay, we can do that. Because truly, we're waiting for design direction. We're waiting for your intent to come to life, and then we can start to create for you. Yeah. And then we created this system called Takeout. We've been working on this earlier before we joined Soelberg to take the idea of a simple solution. So many times there's a day two solution because they've moved into a space, they've beat out their acoustics, and now they've got to solve a problem because they realize that you guys were right. They should have put in some acoustic material. So what would be a quick, easy way to not rely on the unistrut in the ceiling, but come in with a module that would be easy to install without having to go up into all the MEP? And it's called Takeout. We basically designed a 4x4 system. If you look at it this way, it's a 4x4 module. This 4x4 module has 5 baffles. These baffles are just connecting. If I go back, they're snapped on to what we call, you know, the rail. And typically it's on a 4x4 to have 5 baffles. So if we talk from the installation standpoint, 5 baffles mean at least 10 connections to the deck, or pick points as they call them. So that's 10, that they charge you by the pick points. That's 10 pick points for a 4x4. What we designed is a 4x4 module with 4 pick points, not 10. So the connections are coming off of the rails, so it has 4. They literally put on the baffles and hoist it up, and they connect it. So we took
What's the frame made of?
It's actually made of it's actually a great story. When we have our waste, we just took our waste, or discarded PET, and we created a rail. We wrapped it. We sort of cut like origami, and we folded it. And actually, so the end, I don't think I have a picture of the end. The end right here, if you see them, the rendering, the end is open. What that allows you to do, in this case up here, if you want to do a 4 foot, 8 foot, 12, 16, they slide together. So you can create these runs if you want to, or you can do things like this. So we really thought through this. We've been working on it for a while, and the price points, not only for the module, is so tremendously, I've been in this world for a long time, you know, with 2 different companies. And we knew we wanted to come to you all, we wanted to do something very different, not just in product, but in the past companies, so many times we would sell you all things and solutions, and they didn't work. And that would make me just hurt. So we knew we want to come to you. I want to be a design solutions partner with you. I want you to look at us as we're another consultant to your project, but only guess what? We're not going to charge you. So when you come into a project and you need some acoustic solution, I want you to call Bob and Spencer and Cynthia and say, listen, we've got a project. And then we'll bring our team. I have a whole dedicated team of licensed architects, acousticians, product engineers, and we will make sure that your solutions work. We will do the calculations for you. We'll do the acoustic assessments. We'll lay this out for you. So we thought, what's the one thing in service that we could do? What could we do for you that no one else is really doing? And that's to take billable hours off your desk. So truly, if you have a project, we can get your RCP. We know your design intent, and we have all the things that we need to assess your project. Not only will we do the assessments for you and make sure that when you specify this, that this is going to solve the problem for that client. To wrap it up, why Soelberg? These are the things that we think make us different. You know, I have a whole team. That's your team. And again, whether it's acoustic valuations, you know, either in pre-built or in design phase, you want to make sure that we're solving problems, or, you know, if you're doing a TI project, you want some help. Our acoustic evaluations, our custom capabilities, our design, we will design for you. you know, and then to bring texture the way no one's bringing texture. And of course, we know to bring you high performance material, we wouldn't bring it to you if it wasn't, we know better. But we're also working, we call 12 mil and 24, so 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Almost everybody stays in that 9 mil, so 1/4 inches where the majority of people kind of, that's their sweet spot. We're bringing to you thicker materials. And then our hardware solutions and our pricing, we know where we had to be priced to be competitive. And with that, I'll just end with this slide. I was going to show it to you if you want to talk other things. This is a custom job with our Baltic bursts that we're doing in San Francisco, where we're cutting out these beautiful shapes in our 4x8 sheets. And there's an LED light source that the architect's designed behind it. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, Jody. As you all can see, she has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to baffles and it comes to these core materials. So thank you again. And we're going to end here. So thank you all for joining us. Send us any emails or any questions and we'll follow up with you there.